All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fernando. In this video, we're going to talk about Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. and what he had to say was not a strength. That's the best way I'm going to say it. Against YORDENIS Ugas, something that other people have said about him, but something that he confirms, but yet, in my opinion, just tells you why he is the big fish. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fernando. We are back in the welterweight division talking about the huge fight coming up this weekend between Errol Spence Jr. and YORDENIS Ugas. Errol Spence Jr. makes an admission about his talent level that I think is keen and one of the main reasons people underestimate him so much, but yet it is an acknowledgement. Now, before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber, thank you so much for your support of the channel. If you are recently joined to the channel, or if this is the first video that you've seen, please hit that bell icon, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Okay, so let's get to it. Errol Spence will be fighting YORDENIS Ugas coming up this Saturday in Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium. Biggest fight of the year so far. One I am really looking forward to against two top level fighters in one of the deepest divisions in boxing. Errol Spence Jr. and YORDENIS Ugas both responded today at a press conference to a lot of different questions. And in this, he gave a side interview where I thought, man, I'm telling you, this is why I like Errol Spence and why I believe so many people underestimate him, especially going into the fight with Terence Crawford, provided he gets past YORDENIS Ugas. So what is that? Errol basically said, look, I am not the fastest person in the world, but I'm fast enough. I am not the biggest puncher in the world, but I hit hard enough. And basically, I don't have any mistake. I don't have a lot of holes in my game. I'm very, very fundamentally sound. And he compared himself to Tim Duncan in basketball and said, that's what I'm like. I'm like the Tim Duncan of boxing. Now, if you are not familiar with Tim Duncan is probably the best power forward he's the best power forward that I ever saw. Played for the San Antonio Spurs. Was not a particularly athletic guy. Now, don't get me wrong, the dude was athletic. You couldn't be in that sport at that level without being athletic. But you get my point. He was around. He's playing in a league where there's a lot of super athletes. So, but he wasn't as big, wasn't as good an athlete. Wasn't as fast or as big as, say, Shaquille O'Neal, right? Didn't have ridiculous footwork and super athleticism like Hakeem Olajuwon. But what he did very, very well. He did without a lot of wasted movement, and he could do it over and over and over and over and over again. If you made any type of mistake on him, he was going to take advantage of it. His fundamentals were so sound that he just went on, and the San Antonio Spurs pretty much had a dynasty during the time that he was there. Definitely one of the best players that I've ever seen in the sport of basketball. Errol Spence Jr. pretty much is the same way. A lot of people, when they look at Errol, talk about how the fact that, he's just really, really basic. He doesn't really do anything. He doesn't have all the tools in the toolbox. Say that somebody like Terence Crawford has, somebody that you can literally see the athleticism in them, right? Landing really big shots, really big flashy punches, right? Doing that type of stuff. But what you see with Errol Spence Jr. is you see somebody like, that little TikTok thing. It's called a metronome. That little TikTok thing that goes back and forth to keep rhythm on for a piano, to get your rhythm, for a piano player to get the rhythm, that tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. That's what you see with Errol Spence Jr. Just extreme consistency and no real room or gaping holes for people to really take advantage of, unless that is he actually goes in there to war and really starts banging out with people. And then, of course, you open yourself up to stuff. Now, going into this fight with YORDENIS Ugas, I think that what you see is, Yordenis Ugas is similar in that regard. A fundamentally sound guy. He doesn't hit very hard. He doesn't hit tremendously hard. He doesn't have tremendous hand speed, doesn't have tremendous foot speed. So you're going to wind up seeing two guys that are pretty fundamentally sound going each other. The only thing that I would say about it is that Errol Spence Jr., I think, is just got his consistency and his approach to the game. I like him over Yordenis Ugas because of that consistent pressure, that consistent body attack, the fact that he's breaking the dudes down pretty much from the beginning of the fight. Absolutely positively think the man is he's gifted in his consistency. He's gifted in that fact that he's so basic, so fundamentally sound that he's not giving guys a lot of room for, he's not giving the other guy a lot of room for error. And as a result, when you make a slip of somebody that's fundamentally sound is going to take advantage of whatever holes and whatever gaps you give him, he's going to take advantage of it. And I think that is probably going to be the big difference between him and Yordenis Ugas. I think, sometimes Yordenis Ugas fights with his hands a little bit lower, walks forward at you and leaves himself open for shots, where Errol Spence Jr. is almost always in a defensively responsible position. He's almost always in a position to throw a punch. And I think that over the course of the fight is going to be the difference. And I think, and also if you listen to Derek James has said pretty much the same thing when he talks about fighters that really do rely a lot on their athleticism, and how over time, the older you get, that athleticism is not necessarily there for you. But Errol Spence Jr. is really built for the long haul. And that may actually help him overcome, if there was actually some type of drop off in athleticism that took place because of his accident or because of age. The fact that he is so fundamentally sound and so tight is a reason why he can be able to last longer. Another really great example of that, similar example of that in boxing, is Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins really didn't he wasn't very flashy, right? Wasn't the biggest puncher in the world, didn't have the fastest hand in the world, nothing like, didn't look as athletic or spectacular when he fought as, say, his contemporary Roy Jones Jr. But the dude, day in and day out, got just time in, time out, got the job done over and over and over again. And I think that's what you're going to see in Errol Spence Jr., both in this fight with Yordenis Ugas, who I do favor him to beat, and when he gets to that fight next that he really wants to happen against Terence Crawford, and taking advantage of the holes that Terence Crawford gives him, taking advantage of any type of God, what could you say, like any type of artistic grace that he may give, because if you're constantly out there trying to solve a problem and trying to give different looks and do different things, but another guy is just on it and on it and on it and on it, those little lapses that you have, or those little calculations and little chances that you take, taking too many chances with somebody that is fundamentally right there all the time will cause you a lot of problems. But anyway, I'm really looking for the fight. Love to hear Errol Spence Jr. say that, because again, the dude is very, very realistic about what his abilities are, what his challenges are. And when you see people, or you hear people that do that and take that responsibility, they tend to perform better than people that just think that they're undefeatable and and they're better than everybody at everything. So anyway, my hat goes off to Errol Spence Jr. for that admission. Definitely people have seen that and talked about it, but again, his strength is his fundamentals, and it is very, very hard to break down somebody that is sufficiently athletic, but yet extraordinarily fundamentally sound. And that honestly is what people talk about skills, right? The skills are your fundamentals. And if you're a highly skilled pool player, usually that's because you have very, very good fundamentals. Football players, a very skilled football player, you're usually talking about the fundamentals of the game are your skill set. On top of that comes talent. But consistency, fundamentally sound, and being fundamentally sound and consistent will overcome a slight gap in talent. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.